Every woman you have ever encountered has a mental vault, a subconscious space where she stores the memories of the men who actually moved her. Most men never even get close to the door. They spend their lives being nice, being stable, or being successful. And yet, they are forgotten within weeks, sometimes even hours of the interaction ending. You have felt this. You have gone on dates where you did everything right, paid the bill, held the door, and had a pleasant conversation, only to be met with a text saying there was no spark, or worse, total silence. You are failing not because you lack value, but because you lack the knowledge of how to leave an emotional imprint. This is the difference between being a man she likes and being the man she can't stop thinking about when she's alone at night. Women do not remember what you did. They remember the internal shift you forced them to experience. If you are predictable, you are forgettable. If you are safe in a way that provides no challenge, you are a sibling, not a lover. To become unforgettable, you must stop operating on the surface and start operating in the depths of female psychology. Most men are terrified of the depths. They stay in the shallow end because it is safe, but there is no legacy in the shallow end. In this deep dive, we are going to dismantle the common mistakes that make men invisible and replace them with 7 core psychological triggers that create a lasting emotional mark. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It is about understanding the hardwired biological and emotional needs of a woman and meeting them with a level of masculine authority she rarely encounters. We are going to explore why your desire to be liked is actually your greatest weakness, and how shifting your focus to being respected and felt will change everything. Let's break down the first pillar of the unforgettable man, the concept of providing an emotional upgrade. Most men approach a woman with a taking mindset. Even if they're buying her dinner, they're doing it to get her attention, to get her approval, or to get a second date. She feels this transactional energy instantly. It is heavy, it is common, and it is exhausting. The unforgettable man leaves her better than he found her. This doesn't mean you are her therapist. It doesn't mean you fix her car or pay her rent. It means that because of your presence, her internal state was elevated. You provided a clarity, a groundedness, or a perspective that she didn't have before you arrived. Think about the last time you truly listened to someone, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but listening to the subtext of their soul. Most women have never been truly listened to by a man. They have been looked at, they have been wanted, and they have been talked to, but they have rarely been understood. When you offer a woman the gift of being deeply seen, you are offering her a psychological mirror. By noticing the parts of her that she hides, her ambitions, her subtle anxieties, the way her eyes change when she talks about her passions, you create an anchor. She will associate that feeling of being understood with you. And because that feeling is so rare, she will guard your memory. But understand what this is not. It is not being a cheerleader. A cheerleader is lower status. A cheerleader validates everything. The unforgettable man validates the truth, not the ego. If she is wrong, he tells her. If she is playing small, he calls her out. This creates a second pillar, the trigger of respect through friction. Most men are so afraid of losing a woman that they agree with everything she says. They become a yes man, thinking that agreeableness leads to attraction. It leads to the exact opposite. It leads to boredom. A woman's attraction is sparked by friction. She needs to know that you have a backbone, that you have a world of your own with its own rules and boundaries. When you challenge her thoughts, when you push back on her assumptions, you are signaling that you are an equal, or even a leader. You are showing her that you aren't intimidated by her beauty or her personality. This creates an emotional imprint because it forces her to earn your approval. Humans, by nature, do not value what comes easily. If your attention is a free commodity, it is worth nothing. If your attention is a reward for her being her best self, it becomes a prize she will work to keep. This leads us to the third shift, the mastery of emotional contrast. Predictability is the silent killer of attraction. If every date is a dinner and a movie, if every conversation follows the same "how was your day" script, her brain will eventually categorize you as background noise. To be unforgettable, you must provide a spectrum of emotion. You must be able to be the stoic, grounded man who handles a crisis with a calm hand. But you must also be the man who can tease her until she's breathless with laughter. You must be able to have a deep, philosophical conversation about the nature of existence at 2 a.m. and then be completely assertive and decisive at 2 p.m. This contrast creates a roller coaster effect in her nervous system. When her heart rate fluctuates because of you, sometimes racing with excitement, sometimes slowing with deep comfort, she becomes biologically bonded to the experience you provide. She can't forget you because her body won't let her. It remembers the chemical spikes of adrenaline and dopamine that you triggered. Moving into the fourth point, we must discuss leading without controlling. There is a primitive part of the female psyche that craves a man who knows where he is going. Most men today are passive. They ask, "Where do you want to eat?" Or, "What do you want to do?" They think they are being polite, but they are actually offloading the emotional labor of decision-making onto the woman. This is a massive turnoff. It signals a lack of direction. The unforgettable man takes the lead. He says, "I'm picking you up at 8, wear something comfortable." Or, "I've decided we're going to this place because I think you'll appreciate the atmosphere." He doesn't demand her compliance, he invites her into his vision. This creates a sense of safety. When a woman feels she can relax into your lead, she can finally drop her guard and enter her feminine energy. This is a state of being that most modern women rarely get to experience because they are forced to be bosses and leaders in every other area of their lives. If you are the one man who allows her to simply be, she will never forget the peace she felt in your presence. That peace is a more powerful aphrodisiac than any expensive gift. The fifth trigger involves the power of your own worth and the willingness to walk away. This is perhaps the most difficult for men to master. Most guys operate from a place of scarcity. They act as if every woman they meet is their last chance at happiness. This desperation leaks through their skin. It makes them tolerate disrespect, flaky behavior, and low effort. The unforgettable man has a high standard for his environment. He knows what he brings to the table, and he knows that his time is his most valuable asset. If a woman crosses a boundary, he doesn't shout, he doesn't plead, and he doesn't send long paragraphs explaining his feelings. He simply removes his presence. He walks away like a man who has other options, even if he doesn't. This creates an immediate psychological shock. Most men chase. When you move in the opposite direction, you create a vacuum. She will wonder why she couldn't affect you. She will wonder why your self-respect was stronger than your desire for her. That curiosity turns into obsession. She will replay the interaction over and over, trying to find the crack in your armor. But if there is no crack, if you truly value yourself more than the validation of a woman, you become a legend in her mind. You become the one who got away because you were the only one who didn't fold. The sixth pillar is the concept of vulnerability from strength. This is often misunderstood. Many men think vulnerability means complaining about their problems or crying on a first date. That is weakness, and it is forgettable for all the wrong reasons. True vulnerability is the willingness to show the scars of your battles while you are still standing on the battlefield. It is sharing your mission, your fears about your legacy, and the things that drive you, but doing so from a position of authority. It is saying, "This is where I am going, and these are the dragons I am currently slaying." When you let a woman see the man behind the mask, but that man is still a warrior, you create a deep, soulful connection. You aren't asking her to fix you, you are inviting her to witness you. This creates a lasting imprint because it makes her feel like she is part of something bigger than just a casual romance. She feels like she is a confidant to a man of purpose. Finally, the seventh pillar is leaving the door closed. In a world of social media, ghosting, and constant checking in, the man who can disappear into his own life is a ghost that haunts a woman's thoughts. Most men are too available. They like every photo, they reply within seconds, and they are always around. The unforgettable man is busy building his kingdom. He doesn't disappear to play games. He disappears because he has work to do. This creates a mystery. When you aren't constantly reinforcing your presence in her life, her imagination takes over. And her imagination is a much better storyteller than you are. She will fill the silence with thoughts of you. She will wonder who you are with, what you are doing, and why you haven't called. By the time you do reach out, the emotional tension has built up to a point where the interaction feels like a climax. To be the man she never forgets, you must be the man who doesn't need to be remembered. You must be so secure in your own masculinity, so focused on your own path, and so aware of the psychological levers of the human heart that you move through the world with an effortless gravity. Stop trying to be the guy she likes. Start being the man who shifts her reality. If you can master these 7 shifts, leaving her better, providing friction, creating contrast, leading with intent, holding your worth, showing strong vulnerability, and maintaining mystery, you will no longer be a passing shadow. You will be the emotional imprint that she carries for the rest of her life. You will be the standard by which all other men are measured and found wanting. The choice is yours. Stay in the shallow water of being a good guy, or dive into the depths and become unforgettable.